Yo, what's up? What's going on, people? Had to check to see what time it was, because I'm doing several things today. I figured I knocked out a quick video, and I remember I was watching some other stuff this morning about black businesses, and I keep on forgetting that I needed to put some insight onto it. I might have said some couple things here and there in previous videos, but I didn't really get into the light of it. I don't think I have. Anyway, it's been a minute, a good minute, maybe a week or two. I don't know. It's been a minute, but been busy doing a couple things, working. I finally got to start class officially now. Last week was my first full week. Man, boy, I was so boring. Anyway, got a test coming up and stuff, so hopefully I pass and keep on going because I got a lot of stuff I gotta do. Shouts out to everybody out there, y'all fellow YouTubers. And yes, I saw the Oprah channel. I can't believe this. Everybody's gonna be out of business now because Oprah's on YouTube now. Man, she can't make enough money. Anyway, black business, black business. Speaking of black business, actually shouts out to Oprah because she's doing her thing regardless. And I think she sets the example that business to me sees no color. And I remember writing this down somewhere to somebody, maybe. Anyway. And a good example is that, like, me growing up in Atlanta, and I'm not too big a video game guy, but here's a good example. Where I lived in the Swats, the nearest decent mall was either Greenbrier Mall or West End Mall. I mean, just like something for convenience, basically. But if you really wanted something really neat or whatever, you had to go way out to the other side of town or some bigger mall to get it. And that was the thing. I think a lot of black businesses that I see, when I think of black business anyway, I'm thinking usually I would think something culture related, like an African clothing store or a hair braiding shop or something to that effect. But at the same time, I see a lot of, every time I go to an area where it's predominantly black or you see a cluster of black businesses, it's most of the time, I ain't gonna say it's dead, but it's not like not everybody's flocking to these places. At the same time, it's like I watch these videos or I hear on the radio or wherever it catches my senses when it comes to black businesses. A lot of black entrepreneurs say that a lot of black people do not support black business, and I came to looking for a while. I'm like, what is the point? Not trying to say that there is a point or there isn't a point. Well, is it really necessary to position yourself as a black business? I mean, is your audience particular or exclusive to black people? That's what you have to ask yourself, black entrepreneurs. Now, I'm not myself an entrepreneur, but I am myself a consumer. I know what I like and I know where to get what I like, or I try to find my best for the best deal possible. For example, video game. I go to West End, I go to the shop, there's this one I guess record store type place. I don't know what they call it these days. I still call it a record store, music store, whatever you want to call it. And it sells video games. I go there usually if they have something that I like and I know they got it down there, I'll get it. But if they don't, 9 times out of 10 I wouldn't go there. And the only time I really go to that particular place if they have something that I know no one else wouldn't have. For example, a local rap artist that is not sold everywhere. I'll go to a particular place that I know that sells it. Probably because that particular artist is from the area, or everybody from that area is familiar with that artist. I.e., Oop Camp Records or something like that. That's just an example here in Atlanta, these parts. So if anyone's familiar with Oop Camp Records, shout out to Oop Camp Records. Anyway, the whole point is with black businesses is we can't. And I say we for the fact that I can strongly relate to this. We can't have an inclusive mindset with black businesses. Economics is not based on color. The only color that matters, well, in this case, it would be green. For example, there was this big thing about black hair care business when you had black organizations, having these caucuses and meetings and forums or whatever they usually like to do on how do we handle this. All these Asian people are buying up the black hair care business. At the same time, I'm thinking, well, I don't see how it's racially negative. I mean, don't matter if I was an Asian person, white or black or whatever. If I see a product that I know is profitable, would I want to profit from it? And especially if it benefit from it. So I just see it, so to me, from that situation, just looking at the black hair care business alone from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I don't think it's a lack. I think it's a lack of investment. It's not a lot of people out there. And two, when I think about black businesses, like I said, usually I would think something related to a specialty shop, like an African type shop, African painting or African clothes type shop. And like over here in Atlanta and pretty much everywhere where there's a lot of black people, you do see an occasional, or you see an influx of black businesses somewhat like that. And you do have black businesses, or you have businesses like a Radio Shack or Burger King or McDonald's or something like that that's owned by a black person. So I think really what's more important for the black entrepreneurs or the people that own black businesses or the people that put in the market out there is finding your audience, which we already know that's the obvious point, but at the same time, how do we treat our audience? At the same time, I think really for black businesses need to think much broadly. It's not like you just set up a business and expect black people, put a sign that says black owned, expect black people to come. It doesn't work that way. I mean, I lived in the area in Atlanta where I personally seen a restaurant change hands 5 times in less than a year. And there was this other restaurant within, like, on the other side of the parking lot of the shopping center, which is right next to my apartment complex where I used to live at, changed hands once. The only reason they changed hands once because the people that originally owned it or was running it was old. They were like, we're done, we're retired, we're giving it to our cousins or whatever. And I can't blame them for it. You know, and of course you're always going to have those conspiracy theorists out there that's going to say, well, these folks and these folks and these folks did this, folks, and you got this, and the government's supplying this and that stuff and that stuff. I mean, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, if you had invested into something, you would be doing the same thing. Now, the only problem I have with not necessarily black business, but with businesses that are owned by a particular ethnicity in contrast of an area of another ethnicity. For example, like I said earlier, we got Korean guys that own a restaurant in a predominantly black neighborhood. The Korean folks don't live in the neighborhood. They really don't relate to the neighborhood. Besides the fact that they have a restaurant that they run all day long and make money off. It's like, well, it's kind of hard, like, you can kind of see, I can see, well, damn, these guys don't really relate to us. Not the saying that they're Korean or nothing like that. It's just they don't live in the neighborhood. They necessarily have to live in the neighborhood to make a business. But the whole point is, as a small business especially, I think it's very important that you need to connect with the neighborhood, despite the neighborhood being bad or whatever, you know. But I think that the people at the restaurant, they do what they can, and that's fine, you know. And you do have your bad apples that kind of like spoil the whole bunch. And it's hard to deal with sometimes. But to sum it up, pretty much, black businesses need to think more broadly. I think don't necessarily inclusive, or don't build yourself just around that one base. You know, present yourself as, hey, I'm a black person, I own this business, and this is how I run it, and this is how I want to present myself to the world, not to just black people or African people or Caribbean people. How about all people? Try it. It's not selling out. It's not going commercial. Well, commercial, if you go commercial, it's commercial A. That's just how the biz is. I mean, business is basically making money. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll let you boy. Check you later.